श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः। गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विजयपवरोगिणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणिदे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणे स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितं पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्बा त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भेद्वेषिणीम्। नारायणपरो व्यक्ता दण्डमव्यक्तसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः स्तुद्दीपा च मेदिनी। अवतीर्णश्च कालट्यां केदारेन्तर्हृतश्च यः चतुष्पीठप्रतिष्ठादायेताच्चङ्गुरो गुरुः शङ्खारूपेण मच्चित्तं पङ्कीकृतमुबोध्य किङ्किरीयस्य सा माया शङ्कराचार्यमाश्रये. So we were looking at second chapter, second shloka, right? So in response to Arjuna's sadness and grief, which is what Sanjay narrated in the first shloka, right? So when he said, Tam tata kripaya vishtamashruporna kulekshanam vishidantam vidam vakyam vach madhusudana. So looking at that sorrowful, pitiable Arjuna, Krishna said these words. So what did Krishna say? He said, we were looking at the second shloka. We were looking at the second shloka where Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalavidam Vishame Samavastidam Anaryajushtam Asargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. Right? So we were looking at this shloka. So Sri Bhagavan said, O Arjuna, in this perilous place, where has this come to you, this impurity entertained by unenlightened persons, which does not lead to heaven, which brings infamy, right? So we were looking at last time, what does Bhagavan means, right? So Bhaga Asya Asiti Bhagavan. So the one where Bhaga exists, right? That's him, is Bhagavan, right? So Bhaga means again, it means wealth, beauty, excellence, prosperity, happiness. It's one of the Adityas. Is what Jananendriya. So many different meanings for Bhaga. And also, as part of Sri Madhusudana Saraswati's Bhashya, we looked at a couple of other definitions which came from Vishnu Purana. So Aishwaryasya samagrasya dharmasya yashasah shriha vairagyasyad mokshasya shanham bhaga itingana. So the six things that one exists in full is called Bhagavan. Aishwarya, Dharma, Yasha, Shreya, Vairagya, Moksha, all these things exist. That's called, that person, Jnana, is called Bhagavan, right? So having all those things in full. And also the second definition we looked at was Utpattincha Vinasham cha Bhutana Magatim Gatim Vetti Vidyam cha Savachyu Bhagavaniti, right? So the one, he is called Bhagavan, who knows the origin, destruction, gain, loss, and enlightenment, ignorance of the creatures. So he is the one. So the word again, origins, the words origin, destruction, all these things that it says that he is the cause. So these are the Vishnu quotes from definitions from Vishnu Purana, which Sri Madhusudana Saraswati used in his Bhashya. So we were looking at that, and again, Sri Madhusudana Saraswati says that that kind of definition can only be applicable to Vasudeva himself. And here again, he is referred to as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. It is not Sri, just Bhagavan Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The reason Shri means Saundarya, right? So Shrishcha, so Bhagavan cha, Sri Bhagavan. So the one Sri here also means wealth. Again, bhautika wealth, adhyatmika, so meaning jnana as a wealth. So the one that grants that such a never destroying wealth, that jnana, which results in moksha, is Sri Bhagavan. And that's why it is called Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, what did Bhagavan said? He did not say like we might have done, right? So if one of our friends, so Krishna is looking at his friend Arjuna here, his relative, his friend, is looking at him, his cousin, looking at him, and who is crying, who is very depressed, what we would do, we would try to console him, right? Such a person will come, oh, it's okay, don't worry, things will get better. If you don't want to do the war, let's go home, right? Let's find another way, right? So, but here, what did Bhagavan says here? Vishame, in this perilous place, Kutha, where, from what reason, Samubhastitam has come, Twa, Tvam, to you this has come, right? So you are the best among the Kshatriyas, has come, idam, this Kashmalam, impurity, right? From refraining from your own duty, which is preceded by this compassion, bewilderment, shedding of these tears, and all these kind of things, which has and which since is condemned by the virtuous people as impurity, as dirty, right? So Kashmalam, we see here Kashmala word in general most of languages, right? So most of our native languages. So where we use custom Kashmala as a kind of dirt, filth, or impurity, and things like that, right? So when we talk about a gold chain or something, what is Kashmala added there? So the impurity is added there, right? So to make it strong. So that's the Kashmala. So here Kashmala is not Arjuna became dirt, covered in dirt or filth or anything like that, or impurity, just because he went in a battlefield. It's not like that. It is the Kashmala in his thinking and his thought process, whatever that he's expressing, that Vishada, that grief is expressing, that tears and dropping of his Gandiva and those kind of things. That's what Krishna is addressing. Kusastva Kashmalavidam. Okay. So imagine, as I said earlier, if we are talking to our friend who is crying, we would try to console him. But Krishna says, what this? Okay, is what this impurity you have, what this Kashmala you have, right? So that's telling that Krishna is not thinking just like a friend here, he is thinking more than that. So is it from a desire for moksha or from a desire of heaven, or is it from a desire of fame? All these things, questions, is it from a desire of moksha, heaven, or from fame? All this suggested in the word kim, okay, kuta. So when it says kutastva, so is it because of moksha? Is it because of heaven? Is it because of fame? What is driving you this? Okay, so why are you doing this? And again, all these reasons have been ruled out in that three adjectives in the later half of the verse, right? Anarya justam. So not entertained, okay, justa, not entertained by enlightened person, Arya. Okay, so Anaryam is opposite of Arya. So what is the meaning of Arya? If you search Arya in Google today, you will get that it's a migrated, immigrated, migrated, whatever you want to call, a group migrated people, right? So it says that the from West people migrated and they are Aryans. So, but in Shastras, it is very clear what Arya means. Arya is someone who is kartavyam acharan, kaman akartavyam anacharan, tishtati prakritachare, sato aryeti spridha. So this is said in Vasishtha Dharma Shastra. Okay, so in Vasishtha Dharma Shastra, it says that kartavyam acharan, kaman akartavyam anacharan, tishtati prakritachare, sato arye iti spridha. So that means the Arya is someone who follows his duties and never deviates from his duties and never does unright his actions, and he follows the Satu Prakrita Tishtati Prakritacharya. So he follows the local customs. Okay, so whatever that's dharma, local dharma is there, he follows those things. Such a person is called Arya. So Prakritacharya. So he's local customs. Wherever he grows, he follows those customs. That means he is samskara sampanna. So that means he is not somebody. He has full samskara. Okay, and such a person is called Arya. It is not a race or origin or anything, because again in Vidwan Ganesh Bhattacharya in his explanation of Bhagavad Gita, he quotes, for example, Kalidasa's play Avijnana Shakuntala, right? So in that Dushyanta, we learned about Dushyanta Shakuntala story in Adipurva as well, right? So Shakuntala goes back to Dushyanta with her son Bharata, goes back, and Dushyanta says that I don't recognize you. I don't know you who you are. Right? At that time, she calls him Anarya. He addresses him as Anarya. So if Arya is a race or a origin or a people migrated, it's called for a people group of people migrated from them. Dushyanta suddenly does not become Anarya. Right? He was Arya and suddenly doesn't. Anarya means he does not follow the right his path. That's what Shakuntala is saying, right? So that's what that shows that Dushyanta is deviating from his duties and he's deviating from his dharma, and that's why it's called Anarya. So here again, Krishna, when he says Anarya Justam, he is saying that Arjuna is deviating from his duties. Kartavyam acharam kaman akartavyam anacharam. So that means one does not do what unwritten says. But Arjuna here is trying to do those things, right? So that's the meaning. So the meaning is, how can their duties be given up by the people whose defects like attachment and other things have not been diminished, who are desires of moksha, right? If Arjuna is saying that all these things because of moksha and other things, how can you attain this when you have all these defects of attachment to your family, your relatives and brothers and everything? How can you do that? Through the that can only happen through purification of mind by following their duties, right? So that's the meaning. That's what Krishna is trying to say. But again, the person who is competent to have that detachment, renunciation, that sannyasa, uh, who defects like attachment and other things have been removed, will be, we will look at those kind of persons later in the second chapter and most of rest of this Gita shlokas. So we look at that, what that person looks like and those kind of things. We will look at that later. But again, Krishna is saying, when you have all this attachment, Kuta, when he says Kuta, I said, he's asking, are you after heaven? Are you after moksha? Are you after fame or whatever it is? If you have all these attachments, how are you going to get any of those things? And this attachment, this thing, what it leads to is asvargyam. So it, which does not lead to heaven, okay, because it is not sought after with a view of attaining heaven, since it is opposed to righteousness, which leads to heaven. And it is akirtikaram. If you are looking after fame, it is akirtikaram. It brings infamy, right? It does not bring you fame, because it is not sought after for what you are doing is not going to result in gaining fame, because it's loss of fame. everybody will start talking like Arjuna ran away from the battlefield. It brings infamy. Hence, it is shunned. It has to be shunned by those people who desire moksha, heaven, or fame. Right. So Krishna is saying Kuta when he says Kuta, why? Why are you doing this? What is the reason? He is questioning if your object is to moksha, swarga, fame, all these things, kirti, swarga, all this, then you're not doing the right thing, right? So, and while being desirous of all these things, you still entertain this kashmala, this impurity. And the idea is, alas, your behavior is unbefitting. Your behavior is just does not align with what you are trying to do. So then Arjuna could one could ask, what can be done by me? Arjuna could ask, what can be done by me? Unable to hold my bow, right? Gandhi Samskriti Astat. He said in the first, so we looked at in the first chapter, right? So Gandhi was slipping away from my hand, and he gave up, right? So saying all those things, he leaving his bow and arrows on his chariot, he sat down, right? So Arjuna could ask, what can be done by me? I'm unable to hold the bow because lack of my fortitude that has resulted from seeing army of friends and relatives. So he could ask that question. That's why Bhagavan says in the next shloka, so Bhagavan says in the shloka, third shloka, we look at Klaibyam Masmagama Partha Naitvatva Naitvat Naitatvayup Ivapadyate Chudram Hriday Daurbalyam Japto Tishtaparantabha. O Partha, yield not this unmanliness. This does not befit you. The O Parantapa, O scorcher of the enemies, arise, give up the petty weakness of the heart. So he says this, and if you look at the word by word meaning of this, klaibyam means unmanliness. Ma, do not. Gamaha, yield to. Partha is addressing Arjuna, son of Pritha's son. Na means not. Etat is this. Kyayi, to you. Upapadyate, befitting. Kshudram, petty. Hridaya, heart. Daurbalyam, weakness. Taktva, giving up. Uttishta, arise. Parantapa, conquer of enemies or scorcher of enemies, and those meanings. So here, what saying again, masma gamaha, you yield not, klaibyam, to unmanliness. Okay, klibasya bhavam, klaibyam. So the state of impotence, lack of fortitude in the form of uh, loss of vitality, vigor, etc. Right. So do not yield to this unmanliness, O Partha, that is son of Pritha, right? So indication again is every one of Kunti's sons are born out of Devata's blessing, and there is abundance of valor in. That's why it does not, this unmanliness, this klaibyam does not fit you. Okay, so by saying that na etat, again Bhagavan, he means due to the fact that Arjuna is also uh, being Arjuna also, this does not fit you. Okay, so na etat means again he's saying that because you are Arjuna, it does not fit you. Okay, if it was somebody else, probably this klaibyam, this unmanliness probably would have been okay. This unmanliness now upapadyate does not fit you. So it does not fit you, right? Arjuna, because as a Arjuna, you fought Shiva himself, and your great strength is known to everybody, right? So your strength is very well known. That's why, though this uniqueness, what Bhagavan here is indicating that this unmanliness does not fit Arjuna. Again, Arjuna might say, raise an objection saying that I have already told you that Gandivam Samsate Hastat Tvachaiva Paridahyate Naja Shakno Myavastatum Brahmati Viche Imana. So the Gandiva already slipping from my hand, and I'm not able to stand firmly. My skin, I'm sweating, right? So all these things I already told you, right? So in first chapter we looked at this. So Arjuna might say that I already told you all these things. So that's why Bhagavan says that Uttishta. Okay, so arise, get ready for battle. Taktva, giving up, removing through discrimination, removing to looking at what is good and bad. Hridaya Daurbalyam, okay, faint-heartedness. So loss of fortitude, uh, that's coming in, manifesting in your mind, which is Kshudram, which is petty. It is petty because it leads to pettiness, or it because it is easy to get over. And he addresses Arjuna as Parantapa. He says that the one that's addressed, again, one who's uh, scorcher of the enemies, right? So Parashatrum Tapayati iti Parantapa, right? Paramshatrum Tapayati iti Parantapa. So the one who burns the enemies is the Parantapa. So again, Arjuna my thinking, is it not that this by giving up my duty is not due to sorrow, delusion, etc., but the battle is avoided by me because it is not righteousness and it is unrighteousness. It is not virtuous. So this is the sentiment of Arjuna, and who Arjuna did not understood the idea of what Bhagavan was trying to say, and that's why here now in the next shloka, in the fourth shloka, Sanjay introduces Arjuna's words, where Arjuna says, we look at what Arjuna responds to Bhagavan's this message, where Bhagavan says, why this Kashmala, why this impurity in your mind? Get up, start battle, right? And Arjuna says, Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhye Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishivi Pratiyotsami Puja Varisudana. So Arjuna says, O Madhusudana, Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna says, O Madhusudana, O destroyer of enemies, how can I fight with arrows in battle against Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of adoration? Okay, so if we look at a little bit more on the word by word, Arjuna Uvacha, as Arjuna said, Katham, how? Bhishma, Bhishma, Aham, I, Sankhye, in this battle, Dronam, Dronacharya, Cha means and, Madhusudana is Krishna, the one who killed Madhu, and Ishubhi, with arrows, Pratayochyami, I shall I shoot, Pujarho, worthy of worship, Arisudana, destroyer of enemies. Right? So here, Katham, Arjuna again seeks instructions from the Bhagavan. Okay, so from this shloka, we look at how Arjuna finally ends up asking for instructions from Bhagavan. He's asking why you are saying this. Okay, so that thing we start looking at from this shloka onwards, where Katham, how Pratiyochyami, shall I fight against, or how shall I strike Ishubhi with arrows in this battle, Sankhya, in this battle, Bhishmam, that is Bhishma, my grandfather, and Drona, my teacher. So this is what he's saying is, how can I fight with arrows in this battle with Bhishma and Drona? Again, it is saying that I cannot in any way whatsoever, since they are pujarho, they are worthy of adoration, they are worthy of worship, fit to be worshipped by flowers and etc. Right? Not just by me, but everybody. Everyone should be worshipping these people because they are such a great people. They are worthy of puja, right? Bhishma, Drona, and others. So even in playground, it is improper to merely verbally mock or fight these two adorable persons, though that might be delightful, right? So even as a joke, we cannot say something ill towards them. and address them with ill thoughts, right? So when it is like that, how can we say that I can strike them with arrows in this battlefield, which may result in parting with the life, right? So I might end up killing them. So how can I do that? So how can I strike them when he says that these are pujarha, where they worship? How can I kill them when it is even speaking against them is not entertained, right? So then Arjuna here addresses Krishna with two uh, names. One is objects. One is Madhusudana, another one is Arisudana, right? So one is Madhusudana is destroyer of killer of Madhu. Another one is Arisudana is destroyer of enemies. Again, he addresses Sri Madhusudana Saraswati in his Bhashya. He says that because his inability to remember what was said before, he again addresses him with another name in the same sentence. So when even fight is improper, how can I think about killing them, right? So killing them is a far cry. So that's what suggested by the word pratiyochyami. Shall I fight? Shall fight against these people? Shall I fight against these people? Right? So, or how shall I fight these adorable ones? The adorable ones, the worshipable ones themselves are being specified as Bhishma and Drona here. The construction is again here what we are looking at is again two people are named, right? Just two people. But the idea is Duryodhana and others would not get ready to war without putting Bhishma and Drona in the front. So such being the case, it is surely not right is to fight these two because this is not been sanctioned like worship and other things, right? So or also it can be said that this does not become even unrighteousness due to its not having been prohibited. Since again we look at, for example, in Yajnavalkya Smriti, it says that nachaya manishidatva dharmopi na bhavati iti vachyam. Right? So talking challengingly or uttering like you in a disrespectful way, etc. All these things are offense against the respectable persons, venerable persons, even by a mere word, simple word is prohibited, right? So when that itself is productive of evil things, consequences, therefore fighting them is unrighteousness and it is prohibited. So one might argue against Arjuna's case, saying that when Arjuna says these words with the view that they are worshipable and fighting against them, forget about fighting, even speaking with strong voice, challenging them or addressing them as a though or you in a respectable, in a disrespectful way, those things itself is Smriti says that it is not entertained, so allowed, it's prohibited. When it is like that, how can I fight? So Krishna might counter argue that it not that Bhishma and Drona are adorable just because they are respectable elders. Again, this holds good even about others like Kripa and others, but acceptance of them as worshipable is not proper because Smriti, again, Shāstra says that nacha tesham gurutvena svikaraha sampratamuchitaha गुरोरप्यवलिप्तस्य कार्याकार्यम् अजानतः उत्पतः प्रतिपन्नस्य परित्यागो विधीयते. So in Mahabharata Udyoga Parva, we come across this, right? So it says that rejection is enjoined, rejection should be performed or conducted or should be the option when even of an elder who is vain, who is not mindful of what should be done or should not be done, okay, or who treads on the evil path. So Shastra says that even if one is elder, one should be rejecting them. If that elder is not mindful of what should be done, what should not be done, and that elder is going on a evil path, actions are evil, then that person should be given up. Okay, so even if it is guru, that should be given up. So that's what Shastra said. That's why even if whatever you are, Arjuna, you're trying to say that they are gurus, they are worshipable and these things, but Shastra also says if they are not on the righteous path, if they are on the evil path, then it should be punishable. So that's why differentiate, discriminating this, you should be able to fight. So they are on the evil path. That's why you take this. And Krishna might say that. So thinking like that, Arjuna responds in the next shloka. So he says that Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavain shreyo bhongtum bhakshamapi here loke hatvartakamanstu guru nihaiva punjiya bhogan rudira pradigdan. So rather than killing these noble-minded elders, it is better in this world to live even on alms. And but by killing these elders, we shall only be enjoying here the pleasures of wealth and desirable things drenched in blood. So what we are looking again here is Gurun is preachers, Ahatva is not killing. He is certainly Mahanubhavan, noble elders. Shreya is better, Bhoktum, to enjoy the life. Bhaikshyam is by begging, Api, even, Ihaloke in this world. Hatva, killing, Artha, gain, Kaman, desire, desiring to, but Gurun means noble elders. Iha in this world, Eva, certainly, Bunjiya, enjoy, Bhogan, pleasures, Rudira, blood, Pradigdan, tainted with. So what Arjuna is saying is, as to that Guruna Hatva, as a result of not killing these respectable elders, the other world exists as a matter of course. On the other hand, in this look, in this world, in this loke, in this world, it is Shreya, it is better, more praiseworthy, proper for us who have been deprived of our kingdom by them, Bhoktum, to live, Abhibhaiksham, even on alms, even though it is prohibited for the kings and other Kshatriyas, but even a kingdom not worthwhile by killing them. Arjuna again speaks here in this way by considering that even rightful battle has mere livelihood as its result and stigmatizing it as he stigmatizes this battle as sinful. Again, Krishna could argue, is it not already been said that they have lost their respectability by being evil and other things? So anticipating this, again he says that Mahanubhavan, these noble-minded, whose great Mahan dignity, Anubhava, is due to hearing and study of scriptures, austerity, good conduct, and all these things. That's why they are Mahanubhavan. They know all these things, scriptures, austerity, they have good conduct and all these things. That's why. And the idea is that even little sins like vanity and other things do not touch them. They have conquered time, they have conquered death, they have conquered their passion, etc. All those things they have conquered, and who those and they are the one who possessed of, and that's the reason they are being very powerful. They do not have any defect in them of this vanity and all these things, evils. They do not have this, because this is again he quotes another uh, uh, shloka from Bhagavad Purana, where it says, Tatha chati tejasvi tatva tesha tatvesham avaliptatvadi dosho nasteva dharma vitikramo dhushta ishvaranam cha sahasam. So in those Mahanubhavas, in those respectable people, are seen transgressions of righteousness and daring. These are not productive of defects. In the mighty ones, as in the case of the fire burns everything, just like fire burns all the things. In these great people, even if they do something evil, something untoward, that's burnt away. That's not going to have any impact on them. So that's what Arjuna is trying to say. So again, when Krishna could argue that when these have entered the battle out of greed for wealth, okay, then where can these who have sold themselves have above mentioned as greatness? So you could argue their greatness. Krishna could argue their greatness because they have sold themselves for wealth. If you look at Drona, for example, he came to Hastinapura for wealth, right? So we looked at in Adiparva, where Drona was sent back by Drupada, laughed at, saying that you are a Brahmana, now you are saying you are my equal, go back, right? So, and he came and he could not feed his son Ashwatthama with milk, right? And that's why he came to Hastinapura for wealth. And also Bhishma as well. So he says, Bhishma, for example, in Bhishma Parva, he says, Daso dasatvarto na kasachit iti satyam maharaja baddho smarte na kauravai. So I am bound, I am a man is a slave of wealth, but wealth is slave of none. O king, this is the truth. I am bound by the Kauravas through wealth. So Bhishma admits that he is bound by Kauravas wealth, right? So because of that, I am bound. So when Bhishma Drona both are bound by wealth and they are there because of that, what is greatness in them? So when that objection comes, when that question comes in this mind, Arjuna says, because of that is hatva, by killing. Okay. Hartvartha kamans, by killing all these things. So he says hatvartha kamans to guru nihaiva bunchiya bhogan rudira pradigdan. So by repetition of the word guru, again he meant that though they are greedy for wealth, in relation to me, they are still surely respectable elders. They are respectable elders, and that's why even because of that, by killing these respectable elders, even of this kind, bunji, we shall enjoy merely bhogan, the pleasurable things, but we shall not get liberation, we shall not get moksha. Bhoga again means material objects derived from the sense of those that are enjoyed, like for example, bunjanta iti bhoga vishaya. So bhoga means those deserve the ones which enjoy, right? So the suffix gan is added as a kind of accusative sense here. So that and those material objects present iha eva, in this world only, right? So it's not there in the other world. And here again, to those, as it were, they are rudira pratikdan, they are drenched in blood, and that is, they are most hateful since they are covered in infamy. And this is the idea what Arjuna is trying to say. The word again, guru nahatva, again by killing respectable elders, bunjiya, we shall have these enjoyment consisting merely of attainment of wealth and other things, but we will not attain moksha, we will not attain those merits. So he says that. So one could argue, again, one could argue, Krishna could argue, is it not that since living on bhiksha, alms is prohibited for Kshatriya, whereas fighting is enjoyed, fighting is respected, therefore fighting itself is your duty. So because of that, Krishna Arjuna says, anticipating this, he says the next shloka. And we look at the shloka 6 in the next time.